Saying Europe is at a crossroads in history, 18 world leaders at a summit in London Sunday agreed to take new steps to stop the fighting in Ukraine. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the plan will include fresh military aid to Ukraine and economic pressure on Russia.
The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing.
Ukrainian President Zelensky traveled to London just hours after his contentious meeting with President Trump on Friday.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
Democratic Senator Chris Murphy called Zelensky's treatment shameful.
The White House has become an arm of the Kremlin. Every single day, you hear from the National Security Advisor, from the President of the United States, from his entire national security team, Kremlin talking points. For the last week, the White House has been pretending as if Ukraine started this war.
Russia seems to agree. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Sunday that the administration's foreign policy configurations largely align with our vision.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Hey, I think the United States just got told to sit down and hold the EU's beer. The EU's got this. Yeah, I'm thinking that Donald may have made a mistake in the White House the other day. It seems that the entire EU leadership, along with the Canadian leadership, have decided that they're going to take the lead on this, and they're going to tell the United States to sit down and shut the you-know-what up. So here we've got Minister Keir Starmer, and we've got Trudeau, and we've got Macron, all taking the true leadership role, acting like diplomats of the world, not like a petulant, spoiled child who isn't getting his way and yelling over somebody else and trying to bully them into, you need to feel like you got a favor. That sounds like the same thing he pulled on him in the first one, in his first election. But I digress. Donald seems to think that, we're the only ones with money. Well, there's a little thing out there called the EU who has a large bank account. And oh yeah, they seized more Russian assets than the United States or anybody else did, to the tune of $218 billion worth of Russian money and goods. And they're willing to turn that money over to Ukraine. $218 billion? I think Ukraine could finish Russia off with that kind of money. I honestly do. It's going to get messy. It's going to get messy because tempers flared in the White House, and children couldn't mind themselves. Apparently, there were no real adults in the room. Canada and the EU have long been supportive of Ukraine. They've long been a believer that Ukraine was invaded. Everybody knows it. I mean, you can go back and pull out the old clips. The internet never lies about its records. It's got the clips of Russia starting to bomb Ukraine in the middle of the night when no one was looking, and they bombed civilians. It's hard to say that Ukraine started the war. It's hard to say that Ukraine started the war when the clips back then show that they were giving out guns and ammunition from old World War II supply houses and stores, general hunting stores. They were arming their population at the last minute after they had been already invaded. So the timing sequence there is something that even a kindergartner could understand. Unfortunately, the orange flying monkey in the White House doesn't get it. He doesn't want to get it. That clip where we're talking about the Kremlin aligning with Trump and Trump aligning with their wishes and stuff, and the fact that the United States joined Belarus, Russia, North Korea, and Hungary to vote against Ukraine's resolution declaring that Russia had invaded Ukraine and that it was an unlawful war. No, we can't do that. We don't have any honor anymore, okay? Canada has truly stepped up too. Those people aren't afraid to fight. They're not afraid to go out and stand up for the rest of the world. They've been stood up for before, and now we're going to stand up, and help out. And then all of a sudden we get a new president who just backs right out of the game. He's going to play the game of try and play the game of letting Putin have as much of Ukraine as he possibly can. There's just one problem, and I forget the name of the agreement, but I will run it here in a B-roll in just a minute for you. But there was an agreement during the end of the Cold War when the Soviet Union had financially collapsed and left all these other small places to run on their own and had to elect their own governments and form their own taxations and everything else to be able to support themselves because it was the Soviet Union at that time. They financially went under and couldn't support any of these countries, so they had to go out on their own. There was an understanding back then that Ukraine, which held the vast majority of all of Russia's nuclear arms, that Ukraine and Belarus and a third country, and I forget which one it was, would give up those arms in regards to the denuclearization of the world. And in trade for that, the United States guaranteed them security against Russia. Yeah, that was an act. Now the United States says, well, it's not legally binding. Yeah, it sounds about right. Trump says that Ukraine started the war. He blames them for it. Russia stands back and mimics the same thing. The problem is here, people, we don't have an adult at the head of the table anymore. We have a man who has isolated our country away from all of our allies, all of Europe and Canada.
And I think I have the power to end this war. And I think it's going very well. But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine.
And anybody else that's not even involved, the ones that are sitting back looking, going, wow, he dumped on them? Yeah. Trump abandoned all of our legitimate allies. I keep asking the question, when they come for us, who's going to be there to help us? Because the orange flying monkey has really ruined it. And the European Union and Canada are stepping up and saying, we got this. Why would Ukraine or any of Europe want us as an ally? Do you think that they're going to share intelligence with us? Do you think that the Five Eyes, the Seven Eyes, or the Nine Eyes, or the Israeli intelligence group, or British MI intelligence is going to ever share another secret that's worth anything to us? Yeah, they may share disinformation just to shove it into the Russians' throats, because if anything gets told to Donald, you know he's going to share it with Russia. But I digress. There's better times coming. I'm going to remind everyone that we at Unscripted Political Discourse support the 50-51 protests and marches. It's your chance to speak out. It's your chance to make a difference. It's your chance to join the resistance and change the fact that we don't have an adult in the White House anymore. We have a child, a petulant child. The midterms are coming. Join the 50-51 protests and the marches. I'm going to run a B-roll here, and I will leave a link to their page in the description down below if you'd like to look into it. Quite honestly, tomorrow, by the time you hear this, I will already be at a 50-51 protest in my city along with 2 other friends. But I ask you to all commit. I ask you to all do something. If you're really, really interested in saving your democracy, this is how you do it. We don't do it like the Jan 6ers. We don't try and kill people. We raise our voice, we speak to our politicians, we force a situation, we use the courts. That's the way we do it. Anyways, to my listeners, to my subscribers, to the people all around the world who have chimed in and left me a note, showed me what city they're in, asked questions, thank you. The channel is growing, and I'm happy. We're going to keep at it. I'm at the point now where it's like, yeah, we're going to keep going. So if you would, just give it a like. If you got time to subscribe, that'd be great. If not, I understand. But at least like the channel and help our algorithm. With that, folks, I'm going to say thank you and have a wonderful evening. Good night.